Hi, Caroline from The Upcoming.
Great to meet you.
You've had a very successful debut with Thoroughbreds as your directorial debut. What experience did you take from that debut into this film?
It's a really good question. I think one of the biggest change from sort of first movie to second was having been through the editorial process. I'm lucky to have found like a truly amazing collaborator in Louise Ford, who edited both of these films. And I think this time around I was able to really shoot the movie with an eye toward the edit. And think about it not as nailing exactly every shot exactly as it needs to be done and kind of trying to get it all in camera, but kind of giving myself the pieces that I knew that I would need to ultimately put the movie together in the edit.
So the story of Bad Education is kind of from about 15 years or so ago, but it talks about whistleblowing. So do you think it has a resonance to today?
Yes, I think corruption and the corruptibility of institutions and whistleblowers are definitely evergreen topics. And I hope that it's, in looking at this very kind of highly specific regional embezzlement scandal, that we're able to say something about kind of bigger political situations as well.
So how difficult was it getting the kind of humour, satire, but the serious message across? How difficult was it getting that balance for you?
Very difficult, but in the most exhilarating ways. That was one of the reasons that I picked this project, that I love the script so much, was I love the challenge of making a movie more serious through its humor and more funny through its tragedy, in a way.
And you had quite a big cast, quite a very famous cast to build on there. So how did you find it working with such big names?
Almost unfairly easy. It did not ever feel like I was working with these big famous people. Certainly they had the work ethic and the charm of movie stars, but they all had the humility of first-time actors, which was amazing. I did not always want to be a director. I always loved films and I always loved just telling stories broadly. But I actually started as a playwright, and for years I was just a writer. But I always, I think, was hungry to kind of explore the visual side of my stories more and more, and was lucky to kind of transition from playwriting to screenwriting, and now I've come full circle in a way. I'm working with a different writer, and that's been an awesome collaboration. Feels fantastic. London was one of the real highlights of the Thoroughbreds festival tour, and it's a real pleasure to be back. I think it was two things. I think it said a lot to me about kind of the capitalistic system that we all live in, at risk of sounding academic about it. And it said a lot about education, which is something that's really close to my heart. I come from a family of educators to some degree. I've worked as a tutor for many years myself. And then I was attracted to the tone. It was a very tricky mix of humor and tragedy. And I'm very excited by that kind of a tightrope. Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman as well.
Yes, would love to have Anthony Hopkins in a film. No, yes, of course. Hugh Jackman was just an absolute joy to work with. The key thing was casting a lead actor that just that walked on screen and you immediately. Of living directors, well, I love Paul Thomas Anderson. I've always loved Paul Thomas Anderson. Just the way that he moves the camera, kind of the ambition and the singularity of the stories that he tells. But certainly Scorsese and Ridley Scott are on that short list as well.
Yeah.